Welcome to Arsenal Kids Podcast.
Hello and welcome to Arsenal Kids Podcast. My name is Madi and today I'm joined by my co-host Ben. It is great to have you join us for this episode.
Yes, hello listeners. Hello Maddie. Welcome to episode 172. It is great to have you join us. And Maddie, all I can say is that football has its ups and its downs, doesn't it? It was quite a big up last weekend as both teams comprehensively defeated Manchester City.
But this time, both teams have lost and out of the League Cup.
Yes, and so it is a bit of a down. Maddie, let's look at the men's team loss then in part one and the women's team loss in part two. And we're also going to talk about the Champions League draw for the women's team as well.
A lot to cover in this episode.
And we'll get there in a moment. But before we do, we would love for you to send us a question that you might like answered by either Maddie or myself. You can contact us via our website, arsenalkids.com, or send an email to info@arsenalkids.com. We would love to hear from you.
And we would love for you to join us on this adventure together.
We would indeed. And Maddie, you've got a friend here with us.
We are joined as we record by River, who played last season on my football team.
She sure did. And are we going to ask her a question?
Sure, River. What is it that you love most about playing football?
I love that it's competitive
Me too. Anything else?
and that we get to be a team and work together.
Awesome. Thanks, River, for joining us as we head straight to the men's team who came into the second leg of the two-legged Carabao League Cup semi-final tie against Newcastle, having lost 2-0 at home in the first leg. And so the team had a mountain to climb at St. James Park, a place which has not been a happy hunting ground for us recently.
And after 3 minutes, it did not look good.
It didn't. Alexander Isak sent a rocket into the top corner of the net, but VAR, the video assistant referee, spotted that he was marginally offside. A decision that was good for us at the time, as it kept the aggregate score at just 2 goals. But then, 15 minutes later, the aggregate was a goal worse, as we failed to capitalise on our chance and Newcastle buried theirs.
And it was our captain who hit woodwork first, but the ball went out of the play, and then Newcastle hit the woodwork, and the ball went in.
It did. It was a neat flick from Trossard, who found Gabriel Martinelli on the edge of the box, and he nudged the ball into Martin Odegaard's path, who seemed set to score on his wrong foot, but his effort clipped the post and spun wide. From that resulting goal kick, it led to Isak unleashing a shot from 25 yards that rattled the crossbar, but it dropped kindly to Murphy, who squeezed his shot towards goal and got some luck as his shot kissed the foot of the post, but then nestled in the net.
It meant we had a mountain to climb if we were to have any chance of making it through the final.
Yes, and that mountain got even a little bit taller when Gabriel Martinelli was forced off with injury after 37 minutes, and he had to be replaced by Ethan Nwaneri. It highlights that maybe we really should have done something in the transfer window, and it was just our luck, or lack of it, that in the forward positions where we were already super light on player numbers, that is where we lost another player due to injury.
And then you could use the phrase that we shot ourselves in the foot.
Yeah, Maddie, I think that is appropriate to say, as Anthony Gordon from Newcastle nicked the ball off William Saliba, and he tried his luck from about 35 yards out, trying to catch David Raya off his line, but his effort went right. Not learning from that mistake, David Raya then attempted a pass to Declan Rice that was probably really not ever on, and he was pressed. A high turnover was forced. The ball fell to Gordon again, who did better than his previous attempt by putting the ball in the net, making it 4-0 on aggregate to Newcastle, and pretty much ending any hopes we might have had of reaching Wembley and the final on this occasion.
And then with nothing to play for the game sort of fizzled out.
It did. We had a few chances, one to Raheem Sterling, another to Lewis Skelly, but we were not able to get a goal as Newcastle settled into defence and really just looked to have our number over both the two legs of this tie, unfortunately, and it means our League Cup run comes to an end.
And what is next for the team, Ben?
Well, Maddie, we have a massive 10-day gap before the next game, and having played 11 times in just 34 days, it is great for the team to get a break. So they're taking the opportunity to head to Dubai for some warm weather training, and that reset might prove to be the difference with a lot of football still left to play this season in both the Champions League and the Premier League. After they return from the trip, the men's team, they're going to be facing Leicester in the Premier League away from home on February 15.
Okay, well, let's leave it there for part 1. We'll be right back after this with part number 2. Welcome back, and Ben, straight to the women's team who faced Manchester City for the second time in a matter of days.
Yes, Maddie, with the women's team on a 2.5-year unbeaten cup run, I think anyway, Renee Slagers, she made just a single change from the team that faced Man City a few days previous, with Leah Volti coming into midfield after an excellent performance in the previous game when she'd come on as a substitute.
She really changed the last game.
She did, but it was our visitors who had the most promising chances in the opening 15 minutes of this game, with Daphne von Domselaar in goal, pulling off a series of solid saves to keep them at bay, at least until the 30-minute mark. A charge through the middle of the pitch by former gunner Viviana Miedema set up Mary Fowler at the edge of the box, and the Australian winger let fly with a rocket shot, one that this time Van Domselaar was powerless to stop.
The visitor continued to threaten after taking the lead, but our keeper stood firm.
She did, didn't she? Van Domselaar was resilient in goal, equal to whatever City sent her way, and the teams went into half-time with just that 1-goal lead to City. After the half, the Gunners came out much more invigorated, and our number 3, Lotte Wubben-Moy, she went on a stellar run from her own third and almost scored a wonder goal, but it wasn't to be.
But then, with half an hour to go, we got a goal after the referee pointed to the spot.
Yes, Stina Blackstenius had surged forward and was brought down in the area with the referee pointing to the spot. Mariona Caldente stepped up and she comfortably dispatched the penalty to level the scores, and it was game on.
Less than 2 minutes later, and City had their own penalty.
And it was a bit of a concern, but this time it was Daphne Van Domselaar who remained standing firm, as she had for much of the evening by tipping Mary Fowler's penalty away for a corner. The save, you could tell it really amped up the atmosphere at Meadow Park, and we began to start dominating the game, but our front line could just not put away the chances that were being created, both from open play and set pieces, and it looked like the tie would be going to extra time.
But then with a few seconds left on the clock, City got the winner.
Yes, and it was Mary Fowler again who let a speculative shot fly from outside the box, and Van Domselaar's vision was obscured, allowing the ball to trickle into the bottom corner and meaning that we were knocked out of the Subway League Cup for this season, taking away our chance of a rematch against Chelsea in the final and our opportunity to make it 3 in a row.
And next up for the team, Ben?
Well, next up we change to a different tournament, Maddie. This time we're heading to the Women's FA Cup, and we're going to be playing London City Lionesses at Meadow Park this weekend for a spot into the next round of that competition, which I'm pretty sure is the quarterfinals. So no time to sit and relax. There is more silverware on offer still this season.
Talking of silverware, and the Champions League draw has now taken place.
Yes, it has. And as you know, we've made it through to the quarterfinals, having finished at the top of our group thanks to our last game win against Bayern Munich. From that, we've been given a quarterfinal tie against Real Madrid, which I think is actually the first time ever that these two sides will meet, which is a little bit exciting. The first leg is going to be held in Spain on March 18, And the second leg of that two-legged quarter-final tie will be at Emirates Stadium on March 26. The winner of the quarter-final will then be playing either Bayern Munich again or Lyon in the semi-final in late April. So come on, you Gunners.
Okay, well, let's wrap it up for this episode. Thanks again for joining us on our Arsenal Kids podcast.
Before we sign off, we want to express our gratitude for your continued support. If you haven't already, please follow, like, and subscribe so you don't miss us in the future. Remember, your love for the beautiful game is what fuels our passion.
And we would love for you to spread the word about Arsenal Kids podcast.
Yes, please share our podcast with other Arsenal kids you know and help us to grow this amazing community together.
We hope to join you back in the pitch again soon.
Keep the spirit of the game alive, and until next time,
Goodbye.